Okay. I think I am live. But if that's the case, I want you all to throw a one in the chat if you see that I am live. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see me. My audio is coming across well. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat. Let me check on my phone before we go ahead and get started here. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me and if you can see me. Turn this audio down. Put a one in the chat if you can see me, if you can hear me. Okay, cool. We have Cogism. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for sure. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I know I got one response. Throw one in the chat if you can hear me. One in the chat before we go ahead and get started, because we're doing a weekend stream here. We kind of getting into going kind of like a part two of the stream that I did. I think I did it yesterday or the day before. Yesterday. Okay, we getting some other people. Gonzo came through. It's coming through. Ghost MKC is coming through as well. Thank you for coming through. Happy that you all are here. Kamar Brown, as always, so many people are, so many regulars. Definitely, it is definitely encouraging to keep doing this type of content when so many regulars come through. That means that you all are not only enjoying the content, but you're returning to get even more of this stuff. So I definitely appreciate you all for coming through. It's greatly appreciated. I wanted to do this one as a part two. Okay, Coding Evelyn Miami. Welcome to Kamar and Coding Evelyn. Thank you all for coming through. But I wanted to do this one because last time I did the stream and we were talking about cybersecurity salaries, and I was kind of mainly going into where people the salaries that you can get in cybersecurity when you're more senior in your roles. I don't know if you all were here, but if you watch the playback, or I just do a little bit of a refresher, but I was kind of going over salaries that different offers that I had gotten after maybe like 6, 7, or 8 years of experience. I was also going over different offers that people were throwing in my inbox, right? For these 180K base salaries, 200K, 220 base salaries. I think Professor Black Ops that came through. They kind of mentioned even some of the salaries that were coming through out of Amazon, but I don't think that touched everybody who was here. Right, because I know a lot of my audience are people who are newer to cybersecurity, people who are interested, people who are transitioning into the field. And I do want you to kind of get a perspective of not only where you can go and the salaries and the offers that can be there for you, but even the things that are closer to you in your experience level. Individuals with 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, right? People who are more early cybersecurity practitioners. So that's why I want to do this part two, so that I can kind of touch more of the individuals with this content for people who are earlier in their experience. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start with the intro video, and here we go. Welcome to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. One of the struggles for a lot of people is money, right? And compensation, and really knowing what to ask for, what offers are out there and everything. So that's what we'll be talking about today. But as I mentioned before, you all came through, before some people came through, like Wired Dog, welcome Winf. Thank you all for coming through. I'm going to go ahead and get the hand clap for you all. So in part one of the cybersecurity salary conversation, I mainly spoke about different salaries that I was able to get after a certain number of years, more individuals who are senior to kind of leadership type of roles, right? Let me give you a little refresher here. And again, this was mainly given as something like as an aspiration of where you could go in your cybersecurity career journey, right? This was for an incident response role, incident response expert role, where it was 180K base with 100% remote is what they said. And it's for a startup, where that's how you can see with that pre-IPO. But then even as I was looking at more, it was saying a 200K base was possible with bonus and pre-IPO shares. That was one example. And needing to have that digital forensics, malware analysis, probably some reverse engineering in there, but overall an incident response type of role, right? That was one that I had shared before. This was another one. Let me go ahead and go to another one. Let me see if I can find the other one. This was also another one where this was an offer that I was able to receive several years ago. And it kind of went over all the specifics and the details of what that was. This was, again, like I mentioned, it was a senior consultant role in cybersecurity where it had 160K base salary, 24K sign-on bonus, but also 5,300 restricted stock units, which after a certain amount of time, these vest and that turns into money. So that probably came around to another 24 to 25K in salary annually. So overall, this is like a 60 plus that's the 184 plus another 25. So you're somewhere around that 200K or so salary. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I don't think that necessarily touches all of my audience here, right? A lot of my audience might be very new to cybersecurity, new to the field as a whole. So I wanted to do this part 2 so that we can go over entry-level salaries and entry-level compensation for people just getting into the field, transitioning into the field, or just very early in your career journey. So I want to start off here, right? Because I know that I spoke a lot about my experience, but I found a YouTube video for a gentleman. His name is Crypto. He has a very good video that goes over what he was able to get as an entry-level cybersecurity professional. And he went and exposed, he told about his own salary. So I think that is a good place to go ahead and start. And we'll have this conversation. John, welcome, John. Welcome. Thank you for coming through, man. But let's start off with Crypto and what he explains. And I'm going to skip around a little bit because he goes into some detail at the beginning, but he's going to kind of talk about a little bit of his background, and then we'll get into the meat of the video as we go forward. Let me go ahead and maximize like this. We could, or this is fine. Let's go ahead and start the video.
How's it going, everyone? Nick here, and welcome back to the channel. So a job search for anyone, especially college students, can be a little bit mysterious. I know when I was going through my job search when I was a senior in college, it got a little bit stressful. Well, I'm making this video to be 100% transparent and to let all of you know out there searching for jobs what it's actually like. I'm going to go over every single job offer I got as a cybersecurity student, and yes, that includes salaries. First, let me say, if you end up enjoying this video, go down below in the comments, let me know so I can do more videos like this. All right, so first let me give you some background about myself and my education before we get into the job offers. I went to James Madison University in Virginia, which is about 2 hours outside of Washington, D.C. I actually majored in integrated science and technology. Yes, I know it's a mouthful. But more importantly, I had a concentration in telecommunications, networking, and cybersecurity. All in all, I got a pretty good education that holistically went over different technologies and how you should approach different problems using technology. So usually when people ask what I studied in college, I just say cybersecurity because it leads to less questions. Anyway, I ended up graduating in 2018 with a bit above a 3.9 GPA. Another key point is that I'm from Northern Virginia in the Washington, D.C. suburbs, so that's where I was mainly looking for jobs. So that's really the general background of what I was working with when looking for my first ever full-time job. The one interesting...
Okay, we got something there, right? We got a little bit more information about his background. I was taking a couple of notes as we would go ahead, as he was speaking, because I think that that's very important to really understanding what you're able to get and compare it to what he was able to get as it concerns compensation. So these are a couple of notes that I saw here. He went to James Madison University and he majored in a STEM type of major. I think he said telecommunications, communications, cybersecurity minor. He said a whole bunch of stuff, right? But that's something, right, that aligns with some type of STEM major. So he majored in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics type of major. The second thing is that he was looking for roles within the DC area, the DC suburbs, so Northern Virginia. Right. So I think that was something that's also notable because that area tends to have a higher cost of living. right? Northern Virginia or DC, those are kind of higher cost of living places. So his salary should reflect, I say medium to high. They're not like a California or New York, but they are kind of like a tier 1/tier 2 type of salaries there. So that's another thing to mention. And I don't know if he mentions it yet, but he also mentioned that he also had an internship before he came out of college, which is very important, right? Because that means that he's coming out of college with some level of experience before he jumps into the career field. So those are all kind of goes into the summation of what his experience is and also towards what he was able to get in the entry-level cybersecurity compensation package. So just wanted to mention that. Wire Dog, just like he says, be sure to hit the like button as you all are coming in. And if this is your first time here, feel free to subscribe, where we do a lot of these kind of deep dives into some of the cybersecurity content, whether it's salaries, whether it's technical stuff. We kind of get into a lot of it all. So want to definitely thank you, Wire Dog, for putting that out there. Please hit the like button as you all are coming in. But let's keep on going with more of what he says as it concerns his salaries. I actually might go ahead and skip forward. I know that at like the 3-something minute mark, he kind of really gets into it. So, but if you all have any questions, as John mentioned, thumbs up. If you all have any questions or concerns, even if it's not necessarily on the subject of the video, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll probably have some discussion about it. It might not be immediate, but I'll try to answer some of these questions, because these live streams are really the like my ability to be able to connect with you all, answer your questions, and connect with the people who watches a lot of my content. So let's keep on going here. And like I said, I'm gonna skip forward because I think that he just kind of goes in and talks about some other stuff. But let's go ahead. I think this is the area where he gets into what his actual offers were.
Actually didn't respond to me after the interview.
Sure.
And usually those are the type of companies you don't want to work for anyway,
Right.
because of having an offer from the company I interned with. All right, so now let's actually get into the offers I received, the salaries and benefits that came along with each of them. Now, I won't be discussing the names of these various employers, but I'll give you a bit of a...
And I would like to say this also, Wimp, because I know Wimp is from the UK. So they're in Europe. So these are U.S. salaries, right? But the U.S. salaries probably are similarly comparable to that in Europe. But if I know I have a lot of people from India that watch my content as well, you can probably do some of the salary conversions with some of your currencies. So this is specifically, he's talking about salaries from individuals who are in the U.S. area. Keep going.
A background about what the job actually was for those companies and what the companies are kind of known for. First up was an offer for a business technology analyst at one of the big 4 accounting firms. So for this type of job, you could be doing a lot of different things at one of the big kind of known for. First up was an offer for a business technology analyst at one of the big 4 accounting firms.
Okay, so right, that's something that's very important and something that's notable. When you talk about cybersecurity roles, and a lot of times people who are newer to the field, they might not know this, but several of the organizations that employ some of the most cybersecurity professionals, even entry level right out of college, is the big 4 consulting firms, whether Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and PwC, Ernst & Young, and EY, and KPMG. These employ a lot of entry level and early cybersecurity career professionals within the field. So that is a place where initially when I was getting into the field or understanding more about the field, I didn't know that that was a place where cybersecurity professionals were. So, that's something that's very notable. So that's where his first offer came from. His first offer came from. Let's keep on going here.
Firms. So for this type of job, you could be doing a lot of different things, as usually how it works, the main company you're hired for will actually get contracts and you'll be contracted out to a different entity to actually work for or consult for. In these type of business technology analyst roles, you could be doing anything from project management to consulting on a new software deployment or network deployment, anything along those lines. You don't have...
Okay, so he went into a little bit more of the description of what you would do within that role as a entry-level cybersecurity professional within one of these consulting firms. And I work in consulting. Like I work for a very large technology consulting firm, and a lot of times the entry-level people are working in cybersecurity there. And just like he mentioned, so you'll come into the firm, But one thing that's very unique about that experience is that you're not only working on one thing, not only working on one project or one engagement, you're not even working with one customer. A lot of times you might be working on a project for a month, maybe 2 months, and then you switch over to a different customer. You might be working for, say, for instance, a Walmart, because these large organizations like a Google, a Walmart, a Ford Motor Company, like you name it, you name the industry, they are typically bringing in consulting firms, like from the big four consulting firms, bringing them in order to do technology deployments. They're helping them with staff augmentation or filling roles within their company that they don't necessarily have the talent for at the moment. They're also bringing in people in order to do transformation work in cybersecurity. They might be there to install a SIM, right, or a security operations center, and getting them running that, or even they might do some other type of contracting work like penetration testing, or have retainers for incident response. So many times these big four consulting firms and consulting firms in general are all over within organizations doing all types of cybersecurity work. So that's something that he was just speaking of there, and what his role would be as an entry-level person. Again, if you have any questions, throw them right there in the chat. And we're talking about entry-level salaries. I think now he's about to start to get into what his compensation was from an entry-level perspective.
Don't have to be super technical for these roles, but you definitely have to bridge the gap between really technical and the business and management side. So for this first offer, the salary was $72,500.
Okay, he gets into it. 72 here. I'm gonna write it down so we can go over. So 72.5K, and this is fresh out of college, plus a 10K sign on. SIGN on. Okay.
This offer also came with a $10,000 signing bonus. Okay, so the second offer I received was as a software engineer analyst, and the program was actually a cyber program where I would have been able to rotate to different jobs and different job sites, gaining a bunch of experience. Now, this job was for a well-known defense contractor. The salary—
Okay, let's not run
gaining
past
a bunch of experience. Now, this job was for a well-known
Okay, a well-known defense contractor, right? That's very good information. Now, one thing that you see here, he mentions a lot of these. These are defense contractors. These are particularly only for U.S. citizens. So you're working, and you might even need a clearance in order to work for a lot of these organizations. Now, you can be a foreign or not necessarily from America and work within these organizations, but a lot of these defense contractors, they only utilize American citizens. So you talk about Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Rockwell Collins. I mean, these are huge defense contracting organizations where you will see a lot of cybersecurity professionals jumping in here. So I do want to kind of note that, because the big four consulting firms, that's one, but you also have these defense contracting organizations in the U.S. that are also hiring a lot of cybersecurity professionals as well. And I see here we got Professor Black Ops. He says entry bill rate to client for 250 to 3 for the big four. Yeah, that's definitely for those entry level folk. I mean, that's for those experienced folk. And Professor Black Ops, that's one thing that I mentioned as I started, is that I know that a lot of times for the last stream, we talked about people that had a lot of experience, what those offers would look like, those 180, 170, 200 complete or total compensation packages. And for this one, I want to go over what it looks like for entry-level people who are associates, people who are entry-level, fresh out of college, or just transitioning into cybersecurity early in their cybersecurity journey. So we're really hitting on what these look like for people just coming in the field. And this young man, he's speaking about what the offers that he was able to get fresh out of college. Let him talk about this second one. So this one is with a defense contracting organization.
Defense contractor. The salary they offered me was $81,000 with a $7,000 signing bonus. Now, the third offer I received was to become a technology analyst for a well-known consulting firm. Okay.
So I see that he's mentioning technology analyst for a well-known consulting firm. So he also mentions he has here Deloitte, Accenture, Ernst & Young, PwC, McKinsey and Company. So there are levels. I don't know if you ever heard of a lot of these, but there are levels to consulting firms. So a lot of times you will have like the Deloitte, the Ernst & Young, the PwC. Those are in the big four consulting firms. Accenture is just huge, right? That's like one of the largest consulting firms, and they're very heavy in technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, you name it. Crow, I haven't really heard of this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna cap. Slalom is another one. They're well known, but I think they're more boutique. They're more of a boutique consulting firm. But then these three are these monsters. These three are considered the consulting firms are the consulting firms. They're called MBB. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it stands for McKinsey and Company, Boston Consulting Group, or Bain and Company. These are thought of as being like the creme de la creme of consulting firms. They pretty much have the highest charges, the charging rate for their consultants, and they're very well known for their track records. I think McKinsey has started maybe in 1928. Never was that large, but always was that powerful and influential within consulting. So he said that he received an offer from one of these, because he said he's not going to say exactly who gave him an offer, but it's one of these consulting firms. So there's levels here, right? So I see some big four, see some large technology folk. I see a couple I don't really know about, but then I see MBB in here. So who knows who gave him this offer? But we'll take a deeper look into that, because there are some forums that tell you where people are reporting exactly what they're getting from some of these consulting firms. And I see that Maddox just came in, and like I saw Professor Black Ops and John. So let me say hello to everybody with a hand clap. Thank you all for coming through. Thank you all for being here. Let me see. Maddox said hello to you. Says I interview for Crow mid-size. Okay, they usually sub to bigger companies. Absolutely. And many of these consulting firms do. They sub to bigger companies. Like I was explaining, you might come into this organization working as an entry-level or associate or person in cybersecurity, but then you're working on so many different projects. You're getting a lot of different experience. You might even be traveling Monday through Thursday and doing all types of work. I mean, consulting is a very it can be strenuous based upon your lifestyle. I would say it's something for people with a certain personality, right? A lot of times consulting is for like a lot of extroverted people, because you're talking to a lot of people, you're presenting ideas and presenting thoughts, you're coming in to be a problem solver, you're talking to engineers and managers and CISOs, like you name it. So it's a very interesting field to be in. But let's get back to the salaries. I'm talking. Let's get back to the salaries. That's what we're here for. Here to talk about this money.
Now, as I said before, for that business technology analyst position I was offered, this position also could be a variety of things. You don't really know until you actually get on the job and see what you're working with. You could be doing anything from actual software development and coding to project management to other various things. Now, the salary for this job offer was $78,000 and a $5,000 signing bonus. Now, finally, the employer that I actually interned with offered me a full-time job for $83,000 and a $12,000 signing bonus. Now, the job was similar to what I was doing as an intern. It would be for a network security engineer doing network analytics and other architecture type things. Now, I will say that all of these offers were relatively good for the area, the Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia area. You're never going to get as high of a salary as you would going out to San Francisco or Seattle at some of those private tech companies. Now, the cost of living around this area is actually pretty high, but it is definitely not as high as San Francisco. Of living around.
And that's one thing that I do want to point out, right? We're seeing this Northern Virginia, like I mentioned, around this can have a very high cost of living area, as you see with that, as it's showing here with that purple. It means higher, right? That higher cost of living. Northern Virginia can be pretty high in cost of living. Again, not the same as a New York, not the same as a California, but that definitely needs to be taken into account when you're talking about these salaries.
Area is actually pretty high, but it is definitely not as high as San Francisco, as I said, and some of those other West Coast based cities. Also, each of these employers give pretty generous pay raises in the first 2 to 3 years, and you can really expect after 3 years, you'll be in the 6-figure range. So the question I've not answered yet, which job did I actually take? I ended up going with the employer I interned with, that $83,000 salary with the $12,000 signing bonus, in part because I actually knew what the job entailed. I actually had a pretty good reputation already from interning with that company, so it definitely seemed like the right choice. Now,
Okay. That's what he went with. And those are some very good salaries that we were seeing there. To kind of just do a review of his full profile here. We knew that, let me see. We knew that he went to James Madison University. He majored in a STEM major. He was from the Washington, D.C. area or Northern Virginia. And he also had an internship before he had graduated, where he actually ended up going with the organization that he interned with. And he had 4 different offers coming out. He had a 72K, 72.5 with a 10K sign on, so around an 82.5 total compensation. He had another one which was with an 81K salary with a 7K sign on bonus. So we're there at 88K, right? This is fresh out of college. He's getting 80K plus salary offers. And he has another one that's at that 78K plus the 5K. So that's around that early 80s or so, or mid 80K salary. And then the final one, the one that he interned with, he had an 83K with a 12K sign-on bonus. And that comes to, in the first year, that not at a 95K salary. And the thing about it is that when you're talking about these sign-on bonuses, the sign-on bonuses are just for the first year or when you first come into that organization. So you could be making, like he had for one of them, 83,000 with a 12K sign-on. He'll make 95 the first year, but then the following years, until he gets promoted or until he gets a bonus, he's just getting that 83,000. So that's one thing that they make to try to be more attractive when you're coming into organizations, is giving you a sign-on bonus. And those sign-on bonuses can be negotiated just like anything else. So you can negotiate your base salary. You can negotiate sign-on bonuses. You can negotiate certification attempts. You can negotiate travel, or you can even negotiate paid time off or PTO. So those are just some things there. And we're seeing kind of around like an average of that 80 to 85K of what he was able to get for a medium to high cost of living area for a cybersecurity role. What do you all think? What do you all think? Any thoughts and ideas there? But I definitely wanted to go over somebody who kind of gave almost a pretty recent type of cybersecurity type of salary, right? That he was able to get entry level coming fresh out of college. I did want to go over with you all some other things where you're able to find some of these roles. So I want to go to LinkedIn, really. I want to go to LinkedIn. And let me preface it with this. With LinkedIn and Indeed and a lot of these websites, these are able to help you to find some of the roles, because many organizations are being so much more transparent about the salaries that they are offering for their roles. And I think that that's so important and it's so valuable now, because you're able to walk into the door knowing what the compensation is, knowing for what you can negotiate for. So one thing that I do, and here I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to be sharing LinkedIn. I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can put in order to find out the different roles that you can apply for, and really understanding what salaries you can expect going into those roles. So one thing that I put in here is associate. So here, actually, let me just put it in again for you all. So here I put in associate. I put associate level. Let me just put associate. Let me put cybersecurity analyst. And another thing that I put here was that of Colorado. Why did I put Colorado? Colorado, the state of Colorado. The reason why I put Colorado in there is because so Colorado, I think a couple of years ago, they had some type of law which made job posters that are hiring out of Colorado to put in exactly what their salaries were for those roles on all public job posting platforms. So that's why I typically put in Colorado, because many times you'll see more visibility there. And welcome, Savage Scientist. Thank you for coming through. 10 Hut, like you mentioned. Hello, everyone. Welcome. When you come through, you get there. Thank you for coming through, man. Thank you for coming through. And we're talking about salaries for entry level early career professionals within cybersecurity. So I'm going over LinkedIn now of some things that I would put in for entry level roles. And a lot of those roles, and let me put some of these here in the chat. And you can just throw these right here within LinkedIn. I'm gonna put in some titles that would align with an entry level role. So associate cybersecurity analyst, entry level security analyst. I would say SOC analyst. You can even put security admin or administrator. You could put junior cyber security engineer. And I think that's a good list, right, to start off with. Entry level or early career titles. I'm putting this right here in the chat, and feel free to copy and paste it. And those are some titles. Ugh, that looks ugly. That looks gross. Here, let me go ahead and make it look better. I didn't even put commas. I thought it was gonna. Sheesh. That. So you can put a space in between each one of those. But those are some salaries, right? Or those are some titles that you can put in LinkedIn or Indeed to try to find certain cybersecurity roles. Another thing that I did here is based upon what I was hearing from that gentleman and based upon what I've seen, I put it in for around 80K plus in salary. 80K plus in salary. That's where I started. You can go lower, you can go higher, and base it upon where you are. So that's what I put in here, and I just press search, and then we can go here, and I'm gonna try to parse through some of these. Where see some of these are so another thing that LinkedIn does is that it tailors your job search fields to your experience. So you might see senior in here, and it's because they're basing it upon what I did on my own LinkedIn profile. So I'm gonna try to get through here and try to find some non-senior roles. Let's see, senior. Oh, okay. Let me look at this one. So a security analyst role. Okay. For horizontal talent, I don't know what this is. It's in Broomfield, Colorado. I'm not seeing. Are they showing salary here? They are not showing salary here for some reason. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's see. Principal. These are very. See, that's the thing. That's staff security engineer. These are senior level roles. Not that one. See, this is very much so tailoring it to me. Let me put in a different title here. Entry. I'm gonna put entry level. Let me see if that makes a difference. Nope, they're just giving me the same roles. Let me put junior in this month. Let me put junior. I'm seeing you guys type in the chat, so I'm gonna get to those in a couple of seconds. I didn't even spell junior right. You see JUNIOR, junior. See, I'm seeing senior. These are the same roles from before. Let me go to the second page. Of these, because this is not representative of entry level. Okay, let's just go to this cybersecurity analyst role. Okay, they give a little bit here. They haven't even filled in the job requirements. Well, that's kind of ghetto. Hold up. Yeah, that's kind of whack. Hold up, this job posting is horrible. Hold up, let's go to a different one. Okay, there we go. Okay, we cooking. We're cooking now. Okay, let me zoom in here to this row. So this says this is for Boeing. So you remember how we were talking before about organizations that were defense contractors. Boeing is a defense contracting organization. They do a lot of defense contracting. And like I said, and like I mentioned before, they give a lot of information or salaries. They're very open about their salaries, especially if you're looking at Colorado. So it kind of speaks of Boeing. And this one is, I believe, in RMF, right? Risk Management Framework. Professor Black Ops could talk a lot about this, right? And the risk management framework comes from like the NIST, I think 800.53. There's certain regulations that go around this, but even when you're looking at what this is a information assurance risk management framework. This is what they're looking for. And a lot of this can be learned. There's a lot of free resources for learning the risk management framework and what that entails and what that looks like. But they even get into some specifics here about operating systems. You have to understand Windows and Unix and Linux, and they're given the specific versions of those operating systems here. You're also seeing that they're looking for experience with Splunk. That's that SIM that we've been talking about, right? Nessus is another one. That's a vulnerability scanner. OWASP, right? Open Web Application Security project. That's another one for web application cybersecurity. They come up with a list every single year of what the OWASP top 10 are. And Metasploit is another tool that's used a lot of times for post-exploitation after a penetration test, but they might just want you to understand what vulnerabilities and whatnot are associated with Metasploit modules. And this position is expected to be on site. So you got to be on site here. So you got to be there at Colorado Springs, Colorado, right? So they are looking for clearances. They're looking for a U.S. secret clearance in order to get into this. The position requires the ability to obtain the clearance, right? So that's another one. They're looking for a degree here. So that was another thing that the young man had before. He had a bachelor's degree in a STEM-related field. So they were looking for this one. They're looking for a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate of science. I doubt that they need a master's or a doctorate from an accredited course study in engineering, computer science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, right? By June of 2023. And they're also looking for a Security Plus cert. So, before we were speaking about this, I think it was a young lady. I forget her name. I know it starts with a T, but she was asking about having a degree and was there anything else that she needed to get in order to get these type of roles in cybersecurity? This is an entry-level cybersecurity engineering role where they're only requiring a bachelor's and a Security Plus certification or any other ones from the 8570 list. That's all, right? For an entry-level role. That's all that they're requiring. Now they have some preferred qualifications. They're looking for the preferred is a hopeful, right? They hope that you have some experience there. So the thing about it is that you don't need to have this in order to apply. So the thing about it is that the experience with cybersecurity policies and implementations, you don't need to have that. But you can find a lot of these risk management frameworks or frameworks online and for free. Experience using scan attack assessment tools and techniques. That's there with Nessus. Nessus has the free and community version. You can get this also by participating in capture the flag events, the ones that we were speaking about the last stream, participating in the PICO CTF, knowledge of the OWASP testing framework. That's easy. OWASP has all of their information and documentation online for free. And this might be a little bit more difficult to get as an entry-level person, but the ability to code review skills and are a definite plus. It's a plus. And getting to the money, let's see. This is a shifted role. So these have shifts, but the thing that they're talking about is $73,950 and $100,000. So you can come out entry-level cybersecurity engineering role with Boeing, a reputable defense contracting organization. If you're a U.S. citizen and you have the ability to obtain a secret clearance, you can come in with a salary between $73,950 and $100K with a bachelor's, a Security Plus certification, and some knowledge of some of this security stuff. It's very possible for many people. And again, entry level. Let me hit the chat here because I think that you all are speaking. You all have been talking for a minute. So let me jump in here. Here in Washington State, help desk roles are $63K, right? I am training for a senior cyber DevSecOps position. It pays $73K after training. It should hit $80K. Boom, right? So with more training, with more experience, you can get there to those 60, 70 to 80K. And those are kind of more those early career in cybersecurity type of salaries, right? This is very possible, and maybe not even so much early. I don't want to say that that's like just for entry level people, but you can definitely get up to that 60, 70, and 80K salaries for people who are jumping into cybersecurity. Experience tabs is there too. Yep, experience tabs is there. You can put that in here. If you go to all filters here, let me show you a little bit. You go to all filters, and I like to use the experience tab from time to time, but sometimes it really lessens the results. But it's cool. So even if I went to entry level, you could put an associate. You could even put an internship. That was another thing that the young man had. He had an internship before he even jumped into before he started going for roles. So that shows 256 results or so. So we can look at that in a second. But let me go to more of your comments in the chat. NIST 837, right? The risk management framework is the one that he's speaking about. I'm using Vericode now. Okay. It's dope. Is learning something, example, OSINT tools for a new job role the same as having the experience and confidence to apply? I think so, because so a lot of times those OSINT, so for those who don't know what OSINT is, it stands for open source intelligence. So in many cases, for entry-level roles or any roles within cybersecurity, the titles typically that align with OSINT tools and that OSINT experience comes with cyber threat intelligence roles. So CTI or cyber threat intelligence. These are individuals who a lot of times will have some type of military background, or they will kind of be jumping into a role where they're more of security researchers. They might start to present or do research on the dark web for indications that an organization is being hacked or organization is being targeted. They might do profiles for different organizations in different nations to say, hey, these are the cyber capabilities of Israel. They have previously been in contact in cyber warfare with this other nation state. They have these cyber capabilities. All types of things. These are where these hacking groups exist there that have broken these rules. These people are on a no-fly list from here. So a lot of times those OSINT tools and those dark web research capabilities would come in something like a cyber threat intelligence roles, even if it's an entry-level thing. So yes, I would say yes. How do clearances work? How do you go about getting those? So clearances work where many times, if you come into an organization like the example of even here, you see the organization Leidos or Booz Allen or Northrop Grumman. You come into those organizations, and those organizations sponsor you to get a clearance. And that organization, when I say sponsored, not only are they saying that, hey, we vouch for this person, but they're paying for you to get the clearance to the U.S. government. They have to do background checks. You have to go through an application process, and it takes several months, right? Sometimes even several years based upon the type of clearance. But your organization is paying for you to get a clearance to say, hey, this person is a trusted entity. We understand all this stuff about us or all this stuff about them in order to do work for the federal government. So that's kind of at the high level of how clearances work. But if you all have any more questions about clearances, feel free to ask in the chat. I know Professor Black Ops has a lot of experience there. Doctor, yeah, right. I don't think they really need that, but I think that that's what they kind of aiming for or they want. Gonzo, you should probably sponsor. Yeah. So Savage Scientist mentioned, Gonzo, you would be sponsored by your employer for federal government clearance, but your private companies, it may vary. Absolutely. Yes. 6 figures for entry level. This is very, yes. Akiyemi, yes. 6 figures for entry level roles. Definitely can be there. 6 figures or even close to 6 figures. The gentleman the video that we just watched, he was fresh out of college with like an internship, and he was able to get, what was his salary? It was an $83K base salary with a $12K sign-on. So he was coming in making $95K in his first year. So he was right there around that 6 figures. And I think that those salaries have been bumped up so much because there's so much of a need for cybersecurity talent. People are getting hacked every single day. I know it because I respond to many of those incidents. And a time in which organizations are hiring the most for cybersecurity talent is after they've been hacked. They bringing in all types of incident response commanders. They're bringing in people to have SIM, people who are able to have SIM capabilities that can find the bad things before the bad things hit them, because it really messes up with organizations' bottom lines, their business bottom lines. So yeah, I'm still in college and looking for internships. They ask for certifications and clearance mostly. I'm working on getting my certs. This is helpful to know. Actually, Brother Michael, yeah, absolutely. And this is around the time in which many organizations are looking for people to apply for internships. Let me see if I can find, there are internships. I think I found an internship that I recommended to someone. I think it was like Hershey chocolate Security. Let me see if I can find that internship that they are looking. They're trying to bring in people for the summer of 2022. So I think this is the one. Is this the one? Let me go to the website. Let me go to the Hershey website. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one. Let me go ahead and share this with you very quickly, because I would say if you're looking for internships, start applying now. Start applying now to internships. So the Hershey company, the Hershey company, the company that makes chocolate, they are bringing in cybersecurity interns for the summer of 2023. So to look at a little bit of this, and you would have to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but in many cases they would bring in people and they would also house you. I did an internship. It was an engineering internship with Caterpillar, the large organization that makes all of those construction vehicles and all that, but they also involved in a lot of other things. When I did my internship in college for Caterpillar, they paid for my housing. So many internships in cybersecurity and tech in general, they pay for your housing. So they will bring you in, and here are some of the qualifications, qualifications. They mentioned that a firm, listen, they're not asking for any clearances or anything. They say a firm understanding of foundational network and security concepts. You can get that from a Udemy class or even go to Free Code Cap to get a lot of that. Proactive self-starter with a desire to make an impact. Courage to challenge the status quo and take smart risks. Excellent written and verbal communication skills for coordinating across teams. Passion for analytical, right? Quick learner. This is so, and they're looking for someone who has a 3.3 or higher and currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in a STEM-focused area. Or an example, it could even be business. They said it could even be in business. So I think that this is something that you can apply to here. Let me throw this in the chat. And they have several others too. Hershey Summer 2023 internships. Boom. Boom. I'm just going to throw that in the chat for you all, for your viewing pleasure. But that's something that you can definitely go into, right? You can definitely look for. Let me hit some other comments. Let's see. I see you all are speaking. KevTech says, just to say hi real quick. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming too. And he said, conferences.security infosec conferences 2023. Talk to hiring managers and bring your resume. Okay, definitely. Take a look at that. It looks like so it looks like an infosec conference that KevTech is speaking about. That is 2023. Here, let me go. Shoot, let me go to it. Let me go to my. I have to go to my YouTube, to copy the links. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. KevTech. Where are you? Okay, let me go to that link that you had just posted so we can take a look at it. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let me share my screen. So KevTech had threw a link to a cybersecurity conference coming up 2023. Okay, let's take a look at this. Cybersecurity conference in the United States. Oh, conferences. Okay, so this is a list of conferences in the United States. And what's very interesting and what's very good about conferences these days, many have a remote option. So you can be attending conferences, networking with individuals, getting contact information, even from the comfort of your own desk, just as I am here. So it looks like you can, let's see, it looks like you can, cybersecurity conferences. Looks like I think you can just put in where you're trying to go. Let me just put in the North American ones. Oh, that's sending alerts. I don't want any additional alerts. Okay, here we go. Here's the list. So that's for 2022. But where are the ones here? Hold on, let me get this cookies thing out of the way so you all can see. I'm looking for the 2023 ones. Let's go to 2023. Let's zoom. Let's get past all of this. So right now it is February. I feel like, oh, okay, here we go. So in February, there are many conferences going down. A lot of conferences going down. So we can see many of them. Let's go to February. Let's just start in March. A fresh month is coming up. It looks like there are the Technology First Ohio Information Security Conference. It's in Daytona Beach, Florida. Another one in Ohio. Another one in Washington. I would say take this link, bookmark it, and look for all of these conferences coming up. They even have one for all things IIoT Day in 2023. And IIoT stands for the Industrial Internet of Things. Interesting. Exploit Con is in Reno, Texas. Looks like a lot of them, right? Critical Infrastructure Protection. It's in Louisiana. Let's see if we're going to go to one of these and see if they have a remote option. See if they have a remote option. No, that looks like that is there. They even have a capture the flag event, but I would even say look at one that greater aligns to where you are. Go to the ones that are closer to your area, right? And then you can attend, and just like he mentions, network with individuals, bring your resumes. And I think that's a very good way to increase your network, your cybersecurity network, but also be able to try to find a job too. Try to find a job or even an internship. Okay, let's keep on going with this. Let's see what else you all are talking. Salute game over KevTep. Thank you all for coming through. Chico, it says very helpful with the links in the conferences. Absolutely. Yeah. There we go. Right. Copy and paste those links, put those things in there. You say happy Saturday. After the hack, the budgets are open 100%. Everybody's saying hello. I just don't want to miss any of y'all's comments. I got a job. Okay. KevTech said he got a job joining a conference. Networking does help 100%. Maddox said anybody else NFC their resume to head hunters at conferences. What is NFC? What does NFC stand for? But I think that that's one thing that's important. Like you mentioned, bring your resumes and give them to headhunters or recruiters at conferences. Very good. Definitely recommended. Or is it just me? What does NFC stand for? Let me know what that means, Maddox. Good to see you. Everybody's saying hello. Everybody's welcoming. Saying hello. Jay says, I am wondering if going contract is the best way to be able to work while traveling. Gradually, more companies are strict and remote employees working while on foreign soil, whether government. I think that's an interesting question because I think that, like you mentioned, more companies are starting to go on site. So more companies are not necessarily focused on remote roles because, you know, the world's all opening up again. That could be a good thing, but it all could be a bad thing for people who like working remote. Personally, I haven't been in the office since 2017. I've not been in the office since 2017, and I don't intend to go back, right? So I'm not taking any job offers that are on site. But at the same time, if there comes a time where I might need a job, right? I might get laid off my current employment. I might have to go with that. So that's one thing, right? But at the same time, I don't know. Working on foreign soil while working for companies, yeah, I think contracting is more aligned to that because many times contract, they have a set end date. They have a set begin date and a set end date. So you'll get a higher compensation. You'll get a higher salary for the time that you're working there. And you can even take breaks in between. So I don't know. The game is very different. And I'm finding it a little difficult to answer this because it really depends on the person. You might be a family person. You might have like me. I just had my first child, and I'm not looking at being away from my family for too long of a period. So I'm not looking at contract roles. I know that we just had some openings for an Abu Dhabi engagement in the Middle East, and you'll be gone from your family, from home for I think 3 to 4 months at a time. So I'm not open to that. For somebody who might not have those type of responsibilities, you might be very much so open to those type of roles. So I think it's also dependent upon who you are. I know with government organizations, they a lot of times do not allow you to work on foreign soil while working a defense contracting type of role. So that's hopefully that gives a little bit of context there. Maddox says near field communications. Okay, that makes sense. Contracts is good for work experience. Then focus on getting full-time job with benefits. Yeah, because those benefits start to add up, right? Like I was mentioning, if you're looking to have a family, benefits are very valuable. I don't think I paid anything for the birth of my child, right? And because of my healthcare benefits. Now, if I continue to work remote or if I continue to work contracting roles don't give you benefits at all. So that would have all had to come out of pocket. And if you look at the bill, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to just sit in a hospital. I mean, you got to pay the doctors, you got to pay the anesthetist, you got to pay the nurses, you got to pay for the equipment, you got to pay for the lunches and the dinners and all the food and even the bed for them to change the beds. You got to pay the facilities workers. So, remote work is very cool. It's very in, but in many cases, I think organizations are starting to get back to that. Okay, if you are more senior in your role, then they are offering more remote possibilities. But yeah, see you all are talking here. Jay said you see all the time Reddit digital nomads losing their jobs and getting caught using VP. Yeah, working remote. Yeah, I guess being out of America can cause tax liabilities issues. Absolutely, because these large organizations do have to file taxes for where their workers are physically or where they do business. So that's very important for organizations to keep account of. And also, there can be liability. So say, for instance, you're logging into wireless, or you might be logging into some open wireless in a hotel that doesn't have secure internet. I mean, and the fact that you're logging in with a company computer or company machine, that can cause that organization's secrets, their internal network to get compromised just based upon you being on foreign soil. So, you got to be very, very, very careful being in a lot of these different places. And yeah, remote work definitely is the dream. It is, but after not being in the office for so long, you at times can try to have or desire to be closer and closer to people, right? To be able to network, go into the events and everything. Or for me, I have a team of individuals, right? And being able to manage my team and being able to see them face to face is something that I desire. Not necessarily to monitor them or anything, but really to be able to at least meet them, right? Have a meet and greet maybe once a year or something like that. But working remote 100% of the time, you may or may not be able to have that type of experience. So yeah, man, this is helpful to absolutely Qualys. Check out that Qualys training. I think Qualys I think that's another tool too. That's definitely get some experience under your belt and learn something for sure. 100%. Okay. What did I want to go over next? I know that we were speaking of different types of salaries from different organizations. When the young man was speaking, he was talking about different salaries that you can get from organizations like consulting firms. And there are open forums online where people can submit their salaries to let you know, hey, this is what we are getting from an entry-level perspective. This is what we are getting. And on a website, it's called Fishbowl. It's an application where it's primarily meant for like consultants. So a lot of like the big four consulting firm workers are on there. And let me show you a little bit more of this. And one thing that they have every single year for all different types of consulting firms they have a compensation survey. They have it for organizations like Accenture. They have it for Deloitte, as it's mentioned here. They have it for PwC, Ernst & Young. We're going to look at the one for Deloitte. Like I mentioned before, Deloitte is a big four consulting firm, and they have like a survey that they submit. And this is it here. And they put it on Google Doc for everybody to see. So this kind of goes over some of the salaries that are currently there at Deloitte. And it's a big old spreadsheet. Let me show y'all this. I'm going to show you all this spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you all how to drill down into some of the cyber salaries. Yeah, big spreadsheet, right? We're seeing here how many entries. What is it? 200. I'm sorry. Shoot, 5, 6, 700. Oh my gosh, I'm getting to the thousands here. So there's a lot. There are a lot of inputs into the survey, and we can see all types of levels here. Let me zoom in a little bit more for you all to see. Let me zoom in more. Can I zoom here on this spreadsheet? Yes, I can. Let me zoom in a little bit more for you all to see. So here we see that they have levels like analyst. And analysts typically are some of those entry-level type of roles, right? You have analysts, you have consultant, senior consultant, senior, did I go past that one? Senior consultant, manager, senior consultant. So they have all different senior manager salaries, right? We have a lot of this here. And let me just show you a little bit of what some of the career progressions look like in consulting. So typically you'll come in as like an entry level. Sometimes it can be analyst. I think at Deloitte, it can be analyst. And then you'll go to something like a consultant. And it's probably easy to tell, but I just want you all to see it from where I write it down, because I brought pencil and paper, or pen and paper today, so you all can see. So manager, then senior manager, and then I think that you start to go into like associate director, and then there you go to director, and then even higher. So typically it looks something like this. Let me show you my paper. Let me show you my paper here. Ooh, let me just show you my. Okay, so you start off at analyst. Let me teach. You start off at an analyst. So this is more of an entry level type of role. Then you go to a consultant within these firms. Then you go to senior consultant, then manager, senior manager, associate director, and then from there it's director, and then you can even go even higher. Typically in these consulting firms, you look at a managing director or senior managing director, and then a VP or something. So those are typically what it looks like within these firms. So when you're looking at some of these salaries that I'm showing here, that's kind of how you contextualize this. So let's look at some of these salaries. I just want to browse through them. Then I'm going to get to what the entry level ones look like. And then I'm going to get even more into what the cyber roles look like. So you're looking here. And when they say high paid consultants, yeah, a lot of these consultants are very high paid. So here you don't see, this isn't as high, and they can vary, right? Analysts versus, and these are both on the analyst level. All three of these, you see one with like a 51K salary, you see another one with a 75K salary, you see another one with an 80, right? And this is at the analyst level. This is more of like an entry level type of role. But then you look at consultant, 83K, right, bonus, or 87K. They're getting more to that. They're getting more to that six figure. And then we have a senior consultant here with a 93K. But then we have another one here that's a consultant, even a step below the senior consultant, that is there at that six figure at 105. So it can very much so range for a lot of these roles. Now we have a manager, which is right there above that senior manager or senior consultant at 177K base salary. So this is a very high paid entry level person or manager level. Someone else at a 36K. Let's keep on going down. And these aren't even necessarily only cybersecurity roles. These can range from people, from people who are very early in their career, or people who are in the finance industry, people who are in technology, people who are in health sciences. This can range very widely. So these are some of those here. Let me see what you all are saying here in the chat. Let me see. Saying thanks. Blackstone Group and BlackRock pay good. Those are some firms that I think he's talking about. Remote work is great. You can double dip, especially when you combine with, that's overemployment, right? That's some overemployment work there. So you all talking there good. You all are having some conversation. Jay says, I also see how necessary it is for just about every niche to learn automation. Yeah, automating work, automating your job tasks is very important. Be in QA, folks, or even networking. 100%. You all are talking and having a nice conversation. You all are talking about some things there. Okay, let's see how to get into what some of these cybersecurity roles look like, because it is what I do is that you can drill down, because people put their specialties here. So I'm going to put in cyber. And as you see here, I'm going to zoom in. When I just put cyber, it starts to highlight where it says core business operations. So some people, like I said, strategy and analytics, human capital, customer marketing, but I'm looking at the cybersecurity role. So there are over 126 entries for cybersecurity roles, or cyber, because some people just say cybersecurity. They shorten it as cyber. So I'm going to drill down into that. And then, where is that at? Pardon me. I'm going to go back to cyber. Where do I see that? Let me minimize this first, or make this smaller so I can see where, this over here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go into that specific. I want to go down into that specific. Let's see. Let me just do A to Z then. A to Z. And then as you see here, let me zoom in more. I have to zoom in and zoom out for you all to see where some of these cyber salaries look like. Okay. So here we're seeing some cyber strategy. I wanted to, I just want to see the C's. I just want to see the C's. I just want to see the C's because core business operation, that's like everything. I just want to see the C's. Wow, a lot of people are in core business. Let me see if I can go fast. CY, cyber. Customer. Ah, here we go. Okay, so now we're getting a whole list of cyber roles. Okay, now I'm gonna go back over. Crap. Can I minimize? I got to minimize this first. Let me do this for you all to see, because I can see it well, but it's a bit difficult for me to zoom in and zoom out. Let me do the actual size. Okay, I'm here at cyber, and then I'm gonna go ahead and look at. I'm gonna go ahead and look at some of the roles. I do want to filter by. I'm going to clear all these and just do analyst and consultant, because those are more entry level type of roles there. Analyst and consultant, right? And then we have 44 entries here. I don't know if you all can see that, but that's all that we're filtering down on here. Here, let me see if I can filter down. Ah, perfect. I can clear this, and then I can just look for the cyber roles. So I'm going to check everything that says cyber advisory, cyber strategic, cyber risk is strategy. I'm going to do okay there. So now I'm only looking at analyst roles. I'm only looking at cyber analysts and cyber consultant roles. So we're looking at more of those who are entry level type of roles. So here we're looking at some of these salaries, and these salaries look very similar to what we were able to see there on LinkedIn, and also from what the gentleman was speaking about as it concerns what he was offered with some entry-level roles. So we're seeing here, oh crap. Okay. Let's try to, okay, we're seeing here, because this is like a promotion cycle or something. So we're seeing here that you're looking at analysts, right? They're coming in at a 77.5, but it looks like they had got a promotion. So they got bumped up to 88.5. And let me put this salary spreadsheet in here. Deloitte salary spreadsheet. So that spreadsheet in there for you all to kind of drill down yourselves into what some of these salaries are. But we're seeing something pretty consistent, right? For the analysts and the consultant level, which are closer to people who are early in their fields, right? And within consulting, we're seeing somewhere between that 70, 63, 64, 70, 80, and this is all in the cyber practice, right? The lowest that I'm seeing is 63, and that could be based upon a cost of living. Some of these people got bonuses as well. These are bonuses that came at the end of the year. $6,400 bonus with a $96K bump. They went from okay, they just got a salary bump because they didn't get promoted, but they got 6,000. They got a base salary bump. So that is encouraging. This person had got promoted here. Let me see if I can just go down. Okay. This person got promoted from consultant to senior consultant. They went from 84 or 82.4K to 104,050, right? So just want to I bring this up to really say, hey, there's a lot out there of a lot of information out there to give people information about what salaries people are actually making at these firms for people who are early in their career journey. Right? We're looking at anywhere between that 65K to around 100K for people that are just jumping in and just starting in the field. And this is from one of these big four consulting firms with Deloitte. This is one of those. So want to really just empower you, because I think that more information allows you to make better decisions with your career journey, and it allows you to better negotiate. Say, for instance, you come in the face of a recruiter who's asking you, hey, what are your salary expectations for this role? You are equipped and armed with all of this salary information about people who are just jumping into the field, where you know that you probably won't try to negotiate a 50K salary, right? Especially if you're looking at consulting. You're not looking at a 50K or 55K salary. you probably wouldn't ask for anything. If you want to be competitive, you start off and say, hey, 75K or so, right? To start off as a base salary. I'm looking at a 10 to 15K sign-on bonus if you're really trying to be competitive. Many times you do want to negotiate higher than what you are expecting. So maybe even just starting off at that 80, 85K if you're just coming in. So these are just some things I want to equip you with. Take a look at that salary spreadsheet, compare it to what you're seeing, compare it to what people are offering you, and that will, like I mentioned, empower you to be able to negotiate properly with the right information. Jay mentions here, do the consultants travel primarily, like domestically? I know with FedRep, sometimes they have to go on various sites with versus being stationary. It varies. It varies. There are some defense contracting roles where you might just be specifically on one site. You'll be on one site, one base or something doing your cybersecurity role. In consulting, it very much so varies based upon what project you're on. Today, with many customers don't want to pay for travel, lodging, and food for consultants to come and to do a service for them if it can be done remotely. One very common service is this like a C2M2, a cybersecurity maturity model type of assessment, where a lot of times what we'll do as consultants, we'll sit down with the customer and we'll kind of go through a series of questions. We'll kind of suss out a lot of different information about their organization. And this is typically like it's some type of tabletop type of thing, right? We're sitting there asking them about their firewalls, their network infrastructure. We're asking about staffing and resourcing and training capabilities and security awareness. We're kind of getting all this information, putting it together and saying, based upon your responses, we believe that you are here as it concerns your cybersecurity maturity. And we're looking at you to start to apply these other things in your cybersecurity strategy in order for you to come to a higher point or more type of or a higher security posture, right? That can all be done remotely. You do not need to travel on site to anybody's site in order to do that type of service. So to answer your question, I say that it depends. It very much so depends on the type of service that you're executing for a customer. Now, if you're doing something like physical penetration tests, like I mentioned, I think it was 2 or 3 streams ago, you do have to be on site for that because you have to walk down systems. You have to meet people in person. You have to walk everywhere. There are a lot of services that people can do remotely today. So I would say the majority of them are remote for consulting, but a lot of them can be a lot of travel as well if they want you inside. I heard about CMMI on CISSP. Okay, cyber maturity model. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big service now. A lot of organizations like it. You do FedRep remotely. I do RFP security reviews. Their app has to be in FedRep data centers. Okay, there we go. Right. So sometimes you have to be on site, but there are a lot of remote services that you do with the federal government work too. Okay, boom. All right. Let me see. What else did I want to cover before we got out of here? Let's see. I think that's it. Okay. I did want to cover this. There's another website called Blind. Here, let me hit y'all with this link. And I think that this is more of encouragement. Blind salary progressions. I want to just show you all this before I jump up on out of here. When you talk about salary progressions, Blind is like a website, like an open forum website, like Fishbowl, but it's typically geared towards people who are software engineers. But a lot of times in cybersecurity and software engineers, some of those salaries can start to align. So, even though it might say like software engineer, it could also align with cybersecurity journeys. So this person just started to post in Blind. He says, hey, this is my cybersecurity journey or my salary journey. And this was back in April. And they wanted to kind of just see where everybody else was. And that's a big thing on Blind. They're like TC or shut up or something, like means total compensation or don't post or something. So they're big on total compensation numbers. And this person works at Microsoft. So as you see here, this is their 7-year career journey. And these are the compensations that they receive. They said probably first, well, we don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is each year. So they started off at 60K, right? They started off at 60K as it concerns their salary when they first jumped into the field. Then went to 85K, 94, 124, 142, 210, and 250. So some have been promotions at same companies, while some have been job switches. Blind tells me I have so much more room to grow. What has been your total compensation journey? So now, so it's interesting because I don't know if you see this here. There's been over 2011 responses, 489 likes to this. So I think this is important because it kind of goes, everybody starts posting now. So here, somebody that works at Snapchat or Snap, they kind of speak of where they came in at in 2012. 2012, they started off at 8K and they were homeless. Yikes. And then 2013, 12K. Then they progressed and progressed and progressed. 112, 125, and now they're in 2022 and they were at 690K. And many people were saying, yo, wow, that's amazing, inspirational, motivational, adding on to the praise and inspirational. And that's something that's, I think that I really want you all to take away from this is that, hey, you can start off at that 60, 70, 80K, or maybe even like this individual, homeless, or even less than that. But you can also, as you grow and create momentum within your career, and this person has had a 10 plus year career span. And I'm telling you, probably this is a software engineer, but this person has grown in their career experience and up to almost 700K. This person works for Snap. Let's see some other one. Sometimes people be capping on here, but I don't know. It could be true. So this person says in 2012 they made 50K, which probably entry level, right? And then now in 2022 they're at 1.1 million. That's very possible when you're looking at the stock incentives from these tech organizations. So they're also where Snapchat. For those who understands what happened with Snapchat, they like exploded. I don't know what they're doing now. I don't know. It's not as popular as it used to be, but I know that stock is probably a big part of this 1.11 million. So, let's see some others. 7 years is what they're saying. Also starting off at 660K and they're now at 416K and they're working at Amazon. So they're probably, like when we were talking to Professor Blackhouse, they're probably at that L7 type of level, L7, L8 type of level. We're seeing somebody who started off at 210 or in 2010 at 73K. Now in 2021, they're at 640K and they work at Square. Square is a very popular application here, right? Very popular application that a lot of people use for payment systems. So they're going up and up here. So, and there are so many others that people were posting. It went into detail. This person works at Google, right? They started off at 75K. They got a promotion, 84K promotion, 96K. Then they got laid off. So that's interesting here too, right? That's very interesting here because we see that they were at 75K when they first started. They got laid off and went from 96K to 65K. They changed jobs, right? So they probably went into some different, they probably skill set, like they probably changed some of their skill set and changed up some things. And it could have been a recession, like some people were mentioning. They had a job change. They went to 105, okay? Then 113, they changed again. And now they're at a 420 here at Google, 420K at Google. Wow, life-changing stuff, especially as you look at this journey. They started off at 75K, was doing good. Promotions, got laid off, took several steps back. And that could be you. You could be taking several steps back now in order to skill up to get to where you really desire to go. And now this person is at 420K total compensation. Yikes. Wow. We're looking at somebody who started off in the year 2000. So this person that has almost 20 or more than 23 years of experience. Now they're at Capital One, a mortgage, right? Capital One, a financial institution, was at 28K. They started to build up from there, kept going, jumped into these six figures between 2006 and 2007. I bet you they went from an individual contributor to probably a manager role or plus, or they got some type of large promotion. They started going up, and they've probably been with the same organization for all these years. And now in 2020, they're probably a VP now. I bet that if they have in 2022, if they work for Capital One, they're probably like a vice president or something. They're expecting 1.3 million in total compensation. And again, that's stock. That's a lot of that is probably stock and bonus too. With these financial organizations, they get a big bonus. Their bonus can be probably double their salary. So people are out here getting to the money. People are out here getting to the money. I'll probably show one more. Okay. Okay, so this is Indian compensation. I don't know that conversion, so we'll just go past that one. Let's see if anybody else posts one. Okay. Now they're speaking about, so they're working at Originate. They've been a program manager all these years with no, okay, so they give a little bit more about their background. So they're from USD. This is all in USD. They've been a program manager, or is it program or product? Either program or product manager. No degree. I don't know what. Oh, and they're a 24-year-old male. I think that might be when they started. I don't know. Maybe. Because I don't think you'll start. Well, they could have started early. Okay, anyway. They started off as Postmates. They were doing delivery at Postmates. Then they worked at athletics for a college for $48K. Wow. Yeah, this is product manager. Then they got their first product management job in year 3, and they were at $67K. And they switched to sales. Okay, that's another one. People speak about this, right? Tech sales is something completely different. And they were able to increase their salary to almost 30K more, 28K more or so. Then they switched over back to product management at that 115. And then, and now they're a program manager, a product manager at Meta, right? Previously Facebook for 385. So, this is inspiring. So, I think I bring these things up to say, no matter where you currently are, no matter what your salary currently is, you can move up and move throughout the ranks of compensation. And cybersecurity might be your best bet here, right? Cybersecurity might be your best bet for going from some of those early career salaries where you're looking at 50K, 50, 60, 70K for some entry-level roles, and moving up into the 100K and the 200K if you are able to increase your skills, increase your capabilities, and network with individuals and do a little bit of job hopping. I say that too. That has been one of my one pieces of my equation is going, not job hopping, but going from organization to organization that better aligns with my career progression and my compensation and expectations. There are a couple more comments here. Let's see. I started as a junior programmer in 30K in 1990. Yikes. Yeah, 30K in the 90s was nice. Some folks still didn't want to make that. Yeah. But on that note, I thank you all for coming through. Hopefully this has been valuable to you all. We went over salaries for so many different things. We looked at somebody who was just coming into cybersecurity, some early cybersecurity salaries that he was able to get just a couple of years ago. I think he said in 2021, he was able to come out with a salary compensation of around 83K, right? With a 12K sign-on bonus as a first year salary, right? That's something that you can expect coming out of college or just starting in the field. Another thing that we went over were some of these open forums where you can use LinkedIn or Indeed to kind of drill down to some of these salary expectations for some of the roles. We saw a Boeing offer from Boeing organization that was going from 78K, I think, all the way to 110, 115K. We also look at the Deloitte, which is one of the big 4 consulting firms. We saw a lot of those salaries, which also went there from around 75K to 80, 85, some 100K salaries for individuals who are early in their career. And then we kind of rounded it all off by looking here on Blind, where we were looking at salary progressions. You don't always get it right there at the beginning, but you can go up more and more as you increase your skills, increase your capabilities. We even saw some people had got laid off. That's also in that journey. So thank you all for coming through to Struggle Security. On your way out, please hit the like button. Or if this is your first time here, hit the subscription bell, hit the notifications and all that. And I want you to come back again where this is Struggle Security, or we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Thank you all. As everybody said, needed help. Salute and great stream. If you all need help for report right, thank you all for coming through. I'm getting great stuff. Clap it up, because this is how I feel right.
I'm good with that. That's success. That's what we set out to do.
That's what we set out to do here. That's what we set out to do, is helping people and really getting people to where they desire to go in the cybersecurity field. Again, thank you all for coming through, and come back for our next stream where I'll have more and more for you all. And if you have any suggestions for information that you want for me to cover, feel free to put it in the comment section. I will read it and I'll respond, and we can definitely probably do a stream on it. Thank you all for coming through, and peace out. And have a great weekend too. Have a great weekend.